Good morning, family and friends. This is Invisible Ink, and I'm here to remind you that it is your life story, and you can rewrite it if you want to. I want to share with you this morning some of my personal notes, some of the things that I work on, in my daily devotion. And one of my lessons, that I've been focusing on is the 15 invaluable laws of growth. That actually come from John Maxwell. John Maxwell is a leadership guru, and the John Maxwell organization happens to be number one in the world in terms of leadership. And some of the content that I've been really, just diving into, really trying to get an understanding of is growth. Because I believe that, there is always room for growth. If you was to go to the doctor right now and ask your doctor, is there room, for me to grow? Is there room for me to get better as far as my health is concerned? What do you think your doctor would say? 9 times out of 10, your doctor will say, yeah, you can get better. If you was to go to your pastor, your spiritual leader, your spiritual advisor, ask your pastor, do you think that there's room, for me to grow spiritually? I'm quite sure that your pastor would tell you, yeah, there's still room for you to grow. If you was to go to a fitness trainer, and you ask your fitness trainer, is there still room for me to grow? Is there still room for me to get better as it pertains, to my fitness and my health? And I assure you, that your trainer would tell you, yes, there's still room for you to grow. Even in your relationships. If you was to go to your spouse and ask your spouse, you think that there's room for me to grow, for me to be, a better man, a better husband. You think, I can do more, and I'm quite sure that in that relationship, your spouse would tell you, yes, there is room for growth, in our relationship. So I believe that when we look at the totality of our life, that there is room for growth. But the question is, how do we grow? And how important is growth? The first thing that I want to share with you that growth doesn't just happen. Growth is not just going to happen. Your relationship is not just going to get better on its own. Your health is not going to improve without you doing anything. Your spirituality is not going to get better. You're not going to draw closer to God or become more spiritual if you don't, put the work in and you don't give it any type of effort. So growth, first and foremost, is not just going to happen. So how do we grow? What do we have to do to grow? The first thing that we have to understand that in order to grow, you have to be intentional. Yeah, say intentional. And what does intentional mean? Intentional, it means to be deliberate. It means that which is done on purpose. If you notice, I didn't say good intentions because there is a difference between having good intentions and being intentional. One thing about good intentions, my friend, good intentions never show up. Have you ever known anyone that has had good intentions that showed up? And in fact, good intentions is the reason why we're not living to our potential. Good intentions, is one of the reasons why we're not growing. Just think about it. You're supposed to, be working out. You're supposed to be working on your fitness, and you don't make it to the gym, but you had good intentions, but something happened. Something got in your way and hindered you from doing the thing that you know that you should have been doing. So that's good intentions. But we're talking about being intentional. If you're going to grow, in any area of your life, you have to be deliberate. You have to be deliberate. It has to be something that is done on purpose. Oftentimes, my wife, she tells me, she said, you have to water me. And what is she saying? She's saying that, in order for this relationship to grow, and not die, I have to be watered. You have to give me, the attention that I need, for our relationship to remain alive. Because one thing I learned about, things in life, things that are alive, if you don't give it the attention that you need, if you don't water your plants, eventually what you think is going to happen? The leaves are going to begin to wither, and eventually your plants will begin to die. So it's no different, when we look at our dreams. Just think about some of your dreams, that you have allowed to wither. Some of your dreams that you have allowed to die, because you haven't been watering your dreams. You haven't been intentional about giving it what it needs in order for it to survive. So it's important, for us to understand that we have to be intentional about our growth. We have to be deliberate. It's something that you have to do right now. Oftentimes, we sit around and we contemplate and we think about the things that we have to do. But what I find to be true is the longer I think about something, the greater the chance is I won't do it. But my chances of doing it, is greater when, I start thinking about it and just start doing it. So that's something that I want you to work on today. I want you to work on being intentional. Now I want you to, look at some of the areas of your life that you feel that you need to grow in, some areas of your life that you feel that you can get better in, and say, you know what, I'm not going to have good intentions anymore. I'm not going to put it off. I'm not going to procrastinate anymore, but today I'm going to be intentional. I'm going to be deliberate about it, and I'm just going to get it done. It doesn't matter how I feel. I know this is something that I really want to do, something that I'm adamant about, something, that I believe in, and I'm going to get it done today. I'm not going to make up no excuses, but I'm going to be intentional. So we're talking about growth here. We're talking about, getting better. How many of you have a growth plan? Go ahead, I'll wait. I'm not talking about goals, because there's difference, between you having goals and having a growth plan. Because one thing about goals, you can reach your goals, but your goals doesn't necessarily guarantee growth. But in fact, if you have a growth plan, then you'll automatically reach your goal because you're constantly working on yourself. You're constantly developing yourself. I remember when I worked in the Baltimore public schools, as a behavior specialist. I was talking to one of the students one time, and he was so excited, and he was letting me know that he had passed. But I was wondering, like, how were you able to pass when, 90% of the time you don't even go to class? So how were you able to pass? So I questioned the principal about it. I asked him, I say, why do we have students that are passing, but they're not even in class? So the principal's response was, well, we really don't have enough teachers, and the way things are set up today, we just can't fail them. So I went back to the student, and I asked him, I say, well, what was your goal? He said, well, my goal was to pass. And I said, so you reached your goal? He said, yes, I reached my goal. I said, you excited about reaching your goal? He said, yes, I'm excited about reaching my goal. So my next question was, well, what did you learn? And he was silent because he didn't learn anything, because his goal was focusing on passing, but his goal wasn't on growth. He didn't have a growth plan. It wasn't about him growing. It was just about him reaching his goal. So you see here, just because, you reach your goal, that doesn't guarantee growth. There are many of you, you have high school diplomas, you have degrees and things like that, but when was the last time, you actually read a book on self-help? When the last time you've been to a seminar or a workshop, or something that's going to help you, to become better since you graduated from school? Once again, you reach your goal. But since you reached that goal and you got that piece of paper, what have you been working on? Have you been getting any better? Do you see yourself developing? Do you see yourself getting stronger? Do you see yourself becoming more wiser? Do you see yourself becoming more effective? And the reason that you may not see yourself growing is because you reached your goal and you thought that was it. But we have to go beyond, just looking at goals, and we have to learn, to develop a growth plan. And the difference between a growth plan and goals is that goals, there's a set time to complete your goals. But as it pertains to growth, there is no time frame as it pertains to growth. Growth is ongoing. As long as you have breath in your body, you should be looking to get better. As long as you have breath in your body, you should be looking to get stronger. So there is no time frame as it pertains, to your growth. So I want you to think about that today. I want you to, evaluate some things today in your life and look at the different aspects of your life that you feel that you need to grow in, and I want you to work on a growth plan. And if you don't know how to develop a growth plan, then I can help you to develop a growth plan. That's one of the things that I do as a life coach. So I want you to know that, you don't have to get discouraged, because sometimes we just don't know what to do. And that's one of the stumbling blocks that I'll be talking about, in the days to come. Sometimes we just don't know what to do. And oftentimes when we don't know what to do, we do nothing. So I don't want you to continue, to do nothing. I want you, to be intentional. I want you to be deliberate about your dreams, about your goals. I want you to be encouraged today. This is Invisible Ink. It's your story, my friend. and you can rewrite it if you want to.